Hi, and welcome to the movie Remix, the show about classic movies and their modern remakes. I'm Constance.
Hi, I am Cherry, and you know that this is part one where we're going to talk about just the facts, kind of give you the background on the film. For our ninth edition this month, we are going into our first disaster film, which I'm really excited about. We are doing, huh?
It's a G word. She did a whole weekend of disaster films, y'all.
I did. So we're doing the Poseidon Adventure. And I'm not going to lie. Right after I watched the original Poseidon Adventure, I watched the Towering Inferno.
And then what else?
I watched 2012. I watched Dante's Peak.
So much.
It was a lot of disaster. But we'll talk more about this in the next part. But it's those 1970 disaster films, they are not making those anymore. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm gonna stop there now. They're not making them like they did in the 70s because they have CGI, and which would make them better today. But so I've never done this before, but I want to bring out a specific aspect of the movie that we are watching. We are watching a disaster film, which is a subgenre of films that has an impending ongoing disaster as the subject of the primary plot device. Such disasters include natural disasters, accidents, military terrorist attacks, or pandemics. These are a subgenre of action films, and they usually feature some degree of buildup to the disaster itself, and then the aftermath, usually the point of the individual characters to get out of the way of the disaster. When I say they don't do them like they did in the 70s, in the 70s, these films were packed with character actors.
Okay.
Packed. Now, I know we're talking about the Poseidon Adventure, and we're going to talk about the Poseidon Adventure, but when I watched the Towering Inferno, and Fred Astaire showed up, and an old version of Fred Astaire is there, and you're looking and you're picking and you're seeing people, and you go, oh, that's the guy from Chico and the Man, and that's the guy from this. It's just such a broad breadth of actors and actresses that they included in these films. Now they seem to concentrate on the core family, and I'm going to 2012. So there was John Cusack and his wife, who I can't think of what that actor's name was. Then the kids, and then you saw Woody Harrelson. Everybody else was kind of, and Danny Glover is in this in 2012. Mm-hmm. There's spatterings of people that in faces that but on such a grand scale that the earth is falling apart. You would think
you only have that core group.
Right. You're really only dealing with that core group of faces, where in the 70s, if there are 100 people in that film, at least 75 of them faces you can recognize and go, I think I know them from somewhere.
Right. I get what you're saying. So,
yeah. So they don't do disaster films like they used to. I might watch another one because I was having a good time. So anyway.
Destruction. I think you're just taking tips for the apocalypse, ma'am.
Hey, the earth is going to wipe us. Look, what I learned from my disaster film
is we're the disease to the planet.
Yes, we're the disease to the planet. Oh, no. We're not the problem. There's always an expert on the ship or involved. Nobody listens to the expert. The expert says, you know what? In the Poseidon Adventure, the expert says we really shouldn't run the ship that fast. And then there's somebody there going, yeah, no, we need to get this ship where it's going. Also, the other thing I do want to say about the Poseidon Adventure, because I did research this, the events that led to the capsizing of the Poseidon are really wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah, the wave, even if the tsunami wave was to get very high, or like there was to be one in the middle of the ocean, it would probably be more underwater. than it would be coming up above the water,
above the surface.
above the surface. And rogue waves usually don't come up that high. And so how the ship is built, it is built to sustain that. I looked that up because I was curious. Could this really happen?
Well, actually, I had a whole thing about, like, in my head, I'm just thinking, and I'm going to have to ask somebody. The way they went and brought the ship around broadside versus just trying to go straight through it. Because if you bring it broadside, you're just giving the wave more of a target. And it would, to me, it would be easier to flip that ship versus if you just try to go through it.
And just right. Good point. Very good point.
But, you know.
Yeah.
The summary.
The summary. So we're going to get to the summary. The Poseidon Adventure is a 1972 American disaster film directed by Ronald Neiman, produced by Irwin Allen, and based on Paul Gallicchio's 1969 novel of the same name. The plot centers on the fictional SS Poseidon, an aged luxury liner on her final voyage from New York City to Athens before being sent to the scrapyard. On New Year's Eve, she is overturned by a tsunami. Passengers and crew are trapped inside, and a preacher attempts to lead a small group of survivors to safety. It features an ensemble cast, including 5 Oscar winners: Gene Hackman as Reverend Frank Scott, Ernest Borgnine as Detective Lieutenant Mike Rogo, Red Buttons as James Martin, Carol Lindley as Nani Perry, Roddy McDowell as Akers, Stella Stevens as Linda Rogo, Shelley Winters as Belle Rosen, Jack Alberson as Manny Rosen, Pamela Martin as Susan Shelby, Eric Shea as Robin Shelby, Leslie Nielsen as Captain Harrison, Fred Stadoff as Lynn Cross, and Brian Webster as the purser.
So for the Poseidon, which is the remake for Poseidon's Adventure, it was done in 2006, and it was considered an American survival thriller film, directed and co-produced by Wolfgang Peterson. It is actually the 3rd film adaptation of the Poseidon Adventure. The second one was, I believe, done for TV as several episodes.
You know, I did see something about that.
So we didn't look at that one, but just throwing that out there for your
we did not
consumption.
We did not watch the TV edition, but I think it is on YouTube.
I think so. It was produced and distributed by Warner Brothers in association with Virtual Studios. Josh Lucas was Dylan J. Johns, Kurt Russell as Robert Ramsey, Richard Dreyfuss as Richard Nelson, Emmy Rossum as Jennifer Ramsey, Jacinda Barrett as Maggie James, Mike Vogel as Christian Sanders, Mia Maestro as Elena Morales, Kevin Dillon as Lucky Larry, Freddie Rodriguez as Marco Valentine, Jimmy Bennett as Connor James, Stacey Ferguson as Gloria, and Andre Braher as Captain Michael Bradford, Kirk B.R. Wolfer as Chief Officer Reynolds, Gabrielle Jarrett as First Officer Chapman, and just as a side note, Fergie was the singer.
Yes, Fergie is on the boat.
She doesn't make it out, but
she doesn't know. Nah, she don't make it, but that's okay. The original was released in December of 1972 and was the highest grossing film of 1973, grossing over $125 million worth worldwide on a $5 million budget. A sequel, Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, was also based on the novel by Gallicchio, was released in 1979. The film currently has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 80%, with the critics' consensus being that the Poseidon Adventure exemplifies the disaster film done right, going down smoothly while ratcheting up the tension, and a terrific ensemble to give peril to a distressingly human dimension. The film won a Special Achievement Academy Award for Visual Effects, and an Academy Award for Best Song, The song is called The Song for the Poseidon Adventure, also known as The Morning After. Shelley Winters won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress for this film.
Can I say real quick,
Yes.
the Morning After song, I never knew was related to this movie. Like it was created for this movie.
Neither did I.
I'm just saying, I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
And now I have them to thank for that song, right?
Yeah, because it's stuck in your head.
All the time. And then as a side note, that song was used in an episode of South Park when it was what do they call them? Not banshees, not sirens, a succubus. It's understand it's South Park, but
it's
that was Park. That was her song.
Oh
and
Lord,
the morning and oh my God,
that would annoy me.
It annoyed me. I'm just, for people who like cross-referencing of things, they can go look that up. It was the succubus episode when Chef was about to marry her. That was her song, and the boys had to sing it backwards to banish her back to hell, I guess, or wherever from which she came.
Oh wow,
it was interesting enough. I just hated that was the song choice.
I agree. I'm not even feeling that that's a good idea. Okay, I'll shut up.
The 2006 film had a simultaneous release in the IMAX format. It was released on May 12, 2006, and nominated at the 79th Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects. Poseidon grossed 181 million at the worldwide box office on a budget of 160 million. However, in addition to other costs, results was lost of around 69 million for the studio. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, Poseidon has a score of 33% based on 203 reviews with an average rating of 5 out of 10. The consensus reads, the remake of Poseidon Adventure delivers dazzling special effects. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that any of the budget was left over to devote to the script. That's a little rude.
Come back to part 2.
On Metacritic, which assessed films on a score out of 100, the film has a rating of 50 based on 36 reviews. The film was also nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Remake or Ripoff, losing to Little Man. However, the film was commended for its realistic use of CGI in the capsizing scenes. The film grossed $22,155,410 during its opening weekend for an average of 6,232 from 3,555 theaters, finishing in second place behind Mission Impossible 3 at the box office. And the film holds a Guinness World Record for having the most detailed CG model in a film. The exterior shots include 181,579 individual objects, including 382 cabins, 876 portholes, 73 tiles, and 681 deck chairs, all of which were created by digital effects company Industrial Light and Magic.
Wow.
That's what I said.
That's some trivia for you. Because I will say this in this section of the film, in this section of the show, part 2, we'll do our review, our complete reviews and our thoughts, and give you all of our thoughts. But I will say this, that when the ship came in, when you fly into the ship, coming into the remake, and I've been on a couple of cruises, and I went, wow, they really did a good job for a CGI ship. That looked really good.
Yes. Yeah. It was a glorious looking ship.
It was beautiful. I wanted to be on it until it, capsized. But
that's when you decided that, man, maybe I'll skip this cruise.
I'll skip that cruise. I'm good. So join us for part 2, which will release in a couple of days after this, to find out what we thought about, the film and how we recast it and and what we got to say. So see you everyone in part 2.